at IFA Galaxy, we always save the best for the last. So I'm here to introduce the next speaker. And as it has happened in the past events as well, I'm sure this story will go somewhere deep within you and touch a chord. That is what we at IFA Galaxy believe this session will do to you. And through the transformation, I'm sure we will all be in a better place, better path going forward. With that, I'm going to start introducing the topic. The title of the topic is called The Power of Perspectives. I'm going to spend 2 minutes. I'm not going to stand between you. Preethi, you can come in. You're the superstar. I'm just kind of அந்த கச்சேரியிலெல்லாம் முன்னாடி ஒருத்தர் வந்து டைம் சொன்னார் அந்த மாதிரி. So I'm going to start with a Chinese proverb. He who blames others has a long journey. He who blames himself is halfway. And he who blames none has arrived. Really, it's about perceptions. Is anything in life we look at has positives and negatives? And we have to look at, and we have to train our mind to look at everything in a certain perspective. I'm reminded of a story of a businessman who has 2 children, 2 sons. And he tells the first son, we need to look at new markets. I want you to go visit this country and find out whether we can start a new branch, sales branch there. And the first son visits that country, new country. He goes there and comes back and says, Dad, it's a bad place. Nobody wears shoes here. We can't do business there. And the businessman says, okay. And then next week he calls his younger son and sends him to the same country. And he says, we need more sales. We need to put a sales office there. So can you come back, do a recce and come back to me? And the second son comes back after visiting and he says, Dad, it's a superb market. Nobody wears shoes. So we have 100% client conversion possibility there. Now, as you may know, both of these are true. It's your perception. It's all our perception that changes what we want to see and how we want to progress. With that, we have the final super speaker of this conference, Preethi Srinivasan of Soulfree. She's going to be here with us. Can we give it up for Preethi? Preethi, I'm going to request one small thing. You've given, the profile that I have been given is 4 pages. I will cut into your time, so I'm going to do a brief and set the context. Sure. I'm just going to read this alone.
Sure.
Is that okay?
It's your choice what you want to read.
Thank you. Who is Preethi Srinivasan? Apart from being a rock star, this is the formal introduction. At a young age of 18, Preethi became paralyzed below the neck due to a freak accident. If I'm not wrong, it's the beach, Marina Beach.
No, beach in Pondicherry.
Beach in Pondicherry, okay. Before that, Preethi was the youngest member of the Tamil Nadu state women's cricket team who started representing the state at just the age of 8. So she's a sportsman. You get that drive and that energy from that sports at an early age. She was a national level swimmer, exceptional in academics as well. She was among the top 2% of American students in 1996 and appeared in the 1995-96 edition of Who Amongst America Students, Who's Who Among the America's Students. The future looked bright and rosy, until a fateful moment turned her life upside down. She completely lost her identity in a span of split second. It took another decade, but it takes time for the silkworm to go into chrysalis and metamorphose into a beautiful butterfly. And this was the case with Preethi as well. With the help of Grace and her parents, had a spiritual awakening. She reached a state of equipoise, which allows her to smile despite the desperately heart-wrenching circumstances. Having completely embraced her role as an instrument of divine, Preethi now seeks to spread love, light, and laughter in the world as she sees this as her purpose in life. Having lost everything, Preethi has journeyed the full circle to become the cripple who is the whole. Over to you, Preethi.
Namaste, everyone. Thank you so much for giving me this lovely opportunity. I'm so touched and moved that actually Sir said he saved the best for last. After Mr. Rhythm Desai and such luminous speakers, to be called the best of the lot is such an honor, and I'm really grateful. For a person with a disability, for a woman with a disability, and for a wheelchair user to be given this kind of an opportunity doesn't happen every day. So I wish to say that I don't take it for granted. And on that note, I'm going to request all of you to stand up for a moment. I know you've all had a lovely lunch, so I just want to see if you're awake. And please take one step forward. Just one step. Yes, you may all please sit back down. Thank you so much. So I want to make 2 points with that. You can say, what is this girl? She's made us stand, she's made us move. First thing, you just did something I cannot. And you just did something thousands, if not millions of people across the world cannot. So just for that moment, you can be grateful that you are in a body that is cooperating with you. The gift of this great, amazing machine that has been given to us that we take for granted every day. So why did I ask you to take one step forward? Do you know how many muscles need to work in unison for us to take just one step forward? Any wild guesses? Anybody? 30. 4? Sorry? 4,000. Wow. I don't know if we have those many muscles. But if you Google it, it says it takes 200 muscles working in unison to just take one step forward. Do we have to actually think of anything to do that? To say, oh, here is the gluteus muscle. Oh, there is the dorsal. I need to get all of these intact so that I can take one step forward. We don't need to do that. We just take one step forward. And this body that works so beautifully, that cooperates, even if we poison it, even if we abuse it, even if we take it for granted day in and day out, it works perfectly. But please, this is a moment that I just want to precaution all of you that the body is a machine. And if we don't use it, we will lose it. So I request all of you to drink a lot of water. More than 70% of the body is water. To exercise. I know we are all very busy in our lives, but it's very important to keep this machine in working order, because otherwise, the moment it doesn't cooperate with us, life becomes more difficult than we are able to even imagine. So that's one thing I wanted to share. Another thing that's very close to my heart is that every day, there are 24 hours in the day, and we are always running after something. What is it that we are running after? Do we even think about it? How many of us know what our ultimate goal in life is? Just think about it. After a few minutes, I'll just ask a few people one goal in life. Not what I want today, not what I want tomorrow, but one goal that will stand with you throughout your life. And at the moment you're leaving, if you've achieved that, you'll say, yes, I've lived my life to the fullest. And I'm just happy to go now. Just think about it. And when we speak about the power of perspective, Sir said it's basically about our viewpoint, right? The way I look at the world is different from the way you look at the world. And just to give an example of that, I want to ask, how many of you wear glasses? Okay. So many of us. Are you handicapped? Disabled? No? If you take your glasses off, do you have perfect vision? So it is a disability, isn't it? It may be a 0.1% disability or a 1% disability, but it's a disability nonetheless. So what's really the difference between you and me? 1% to 90% to 99%? It's just a matter of degree, isn't it? Are we so different? So why is it that when we see a person in a wheelchair, we say, ayyo, wow. What a tragedy, la? Really? Do I look like somebody who's led a tragic life? I find, you're all experts in the field of finance and business and making money, of which I know nothing. So I'm sitting in front of you and I'm speaking to you, so I must have something to offer. And most of the rooms I go into, I find that I'm the happiest person in the room. So, I've spoken to the top management of some biggest companies, and I asked them, how is that? Why can't I buy a smile from you? It doesn't cost anything. It's not in the stock market. There's no risk attached. You can smile. And when was the last time you hugged somebody? Yes? Fantastic. But most people haven't. When was the last time you hugged your mother, your spouse, your child, and just told them, I love you? Just for the heck of it. Not because you want something done from them, but just for the heck of it. Right? So in this, I'm going to be speaking for a long time now. So I'm giving you a chance to take on a challenge. How many of you are up for it? Many. So I want to say that since I am something pitiable, something that brings about sympathy, I want to give you all the chance to be in my body for a little while. This body that I've lived in for 25 years. I'm giving you a chance to be in it for 20 minutes. Yes? Challenge accepted. Okay. So all of you sit in any comfortable position. And for the next 20 minutes, you will become a quadriplegic. You will become paralyzed below the neck. So if you get a phone call, see, now I have a really captive audience. Right? No phone calls, no checking messages. And if you have a scratch, an itch you need to scratch, I won't name names, but if you have to scratch, you can't do it. If you need a drink of water, you can request some volunteers there. And imagine there is a scratch an itch, right, that you want to scratch it, you have to explain with words where it's itching to somebody else. Say, you are there, they'll miss it. There have been times in the middle of the night where my parents have worked throughout the day and are resting, and I'm lying down like this, and I have a scratch, an itch right there. But if I take my hand up, I can't bring it down. So what do I have to do? I have to develop this amazingly meditative quality where I watch the itch. And I say, hey, you're there, I see you. But I won't do anything. Seems easy? Try it out in the next 20 minutes. Yeah? So now, to get back to my question, anybody, what's your ultimate goal in life? What is the one thing that if you achieve, you'll be like, Habada, it's done. I can now be content. I can be at peace with myself. I can be present in the here and now, and I don't have to reach for anything. What is the real definition of success for you? Anybody? A single line definition of success. Make a difference in people's lives. Okay? Anybody else? Self-satisfaction, but what is that? That keeps changing every day, right? Sorry, yes sir? Become one with the Lord. Right. So we've had some examples. Now, for the ultimate goal, one goal, like Sir said, become one with the Lord is one of them. Anybody else? Yes, sir. Live a life of choice, joy. No, sorry, any mics can go around, please?
To lead a life of choice.
Of choice?
Yeah.
Now that's an interesting one. Do you feel we have any choice at all? Happy
every day.
Today, happy today, happy tomorrow, and happy
every day.
And what is the conditions apply on that one, sir?
I must be happy, that's all. Should not be any problem.
Yes, but what does it take to make you happy?
That's my choice.
Choice. A choice to be happy. So, if you're sitting, you already moved your legs, so you've lost the bet. Huh? So, if you're sitting in a wheelchair, do you still have a choice to be happy? If there is an itch in your head that is unbearable and you have no way of scratching it, can you still be happy?
Lead a life with charming, with happiness.
With happiness. Charm and happiness. Okay. Yes. So how many lakhs or how many crores does there need to be in the bank for you to be happy today, to be happy now? Or to say, the day I make 102 crores, I will be happy that day. What's the number? Is there a number? So if you have nothing in the bank also, you can be happy. Happiness is unconditional. Peace of mind is unconditional. Yes? Contentment is unconditional. How many of us are happy, content, and have peace of mind here and now today? Much fewer hands than the one with glasses. Right? Most of us spend our lives going after something or the other, someone or the other. Because our entire lives, we identify ourselves with this body. I am so and so, This is my designation. I am powerful. Right? How many of you came here in a car? How many of us will say, the day I drive a Mercedes, that's the day I made it. The day I drive a BMW, I am somebody. Well, you know what? I've had a lot of offers for this. Around March and December is the day the months I'm super busy, because March is Women's Day month and December is Diversity month, Disability Day month. So actually, this year I've had a lot of offers from wheelchair manufacturers. Isuzu Motors, Nissan Renault. What? From my perspective, a car is nothing more than a glorified wheelchair. It has 4 wheels. It has 4 wheels. It takes me from A to B. And why are you sitting in it? Because you're not able to walk that far, right? So what? So this is my BMW. It was given to me free. It was given to me free by the government. And it takes me places where the car can't even go, like here. So what really have I lost? So coming back to the one goal in life, Sir said, becoming one with the Lord. Some people said happiness. Are you able to be happy 24/7? Are you able to have peace of mind 24/7? Most of the time, do we even know what the driving factor is in many of the decisions and many of the actions we do? I'll tell you. Most of the time, the driving force in our lives is fear. Fear of rejection, fear of loss. Fear is what drives us. And most of the time, we are not even aware of it. And while there are many, many educational institutions and training institutes that teach us how to graph and analyze and predict markets and many other things, there are no learning institutes that teach us how to predict who we are or what we think or why we do the things we do. And I was really blessed because life taught me all these things in a very difficult way, but amazing lessons. From when I was very young, when I was going to school, my mother would say, you must go to the puja room, stand there for 5 minutes, and then you go. So never once did I say, oh, I want this phone, or that cycle, or those marks. I had only a single goal all my life. I only dreamed of one thing. My goal was to become a blank slate. I could actually visualize a board full of debits and credits and all that, and I would dream of wiping everything away, becoming a blank slate from when I was 6 years old. But then life and expectations, parents' expectations, go to school, do well, start swimming, become a state level gold medalist, a national level swimmer, start playing cricket. I loved cricket. Not even the shadow of failure touched my life. I was good at everything. I thought I was a star, right? I was beautiful, reasonably well spoken, good at everything. And perhaps the worst player of chess on the continent, but better than most at most things. was a star. And the only child, my parents gave me everything. And then in a split second, I was nothing at all. I couldn't even move my little finger. So then who was I? Was I the body and all those things that body mind had achieved? Or was I this nobody that people refused to make eye contact with? That people didn't want. I went to join college and you know what I was told? நீங்களா ஏங்க வரீங்க? Why do people like you even bother? There are no lifts, no ramps, don't join. This is what I was told. And you know what I'm doing today? Today I'm a senior research fellow and PhD student at IIT Madras. I'm the first woman with a 90% disability to have ever gained admission into the PhD programs of any of the IITs in their illustrious history. And you know what? That has nothing to do with me. I'm very glad it might break barriers and more people like me might come. But I don't take any sense of doership in that. Because my goal was to become a blank slate. And in giving me the most difficult challenge anybody can face on the planet, to live a life where your own body doesn't even cooperate with you, where you can see your favorite piece of beautiful pizza on the plate and you can only watch it. You need the help of somebody to take it and put it in your mouth. If you're lying down, you can't sit, you can't eat, you can't have a bath. If I thought about all the things I cannot do, I would never get out of bed. Because anyway I can't, but still. But I'm here today because two things happened. My father told me, so what's the big deal? This body, everybody's body is going to go. Nobody's body is here to stay. So why don't you think you've been given something in fast forward? Why don't you go within yourself and find out if there is something that can't be taken away? That can't be taken away by circumstance. That can't be taken away by time. That can't be taken away by death. Is there something within you? But at the time when I was 18, I was so angry. And I was so busy telling myself, asking myself, why me? Why me? I'd worked so hard. I trained 6-7 hours a day to be in a body that was Olympic level fit. How could I become a quadriplegic? Why me? But then, a couple of near-death experiences helped. But I went from going, why me, to why not me? And I went from thinking, I can't do this, I can't do this, I can't do this, I don't want to do this, to thinking, life is not about all the things I cannot do, but what I choose to do with what I can do. And what I've chosen to do is become the face and voice of this invisible segment of society of women who are forced to die, who are killed by their own families, who are told that they're a shame and a burden and a curse. And I've chosen to become somebody that is raising awareness about spinal cord injury in India. And with my mother's guidance and her blessing and inspiration, I've started an organization called Soulfree, the bell rang. It rang in my life also. But Soulfree is an organization that is totally committed to improving the quality of life of persons facing a lifetime of paralysis after spinal cord injury. A spinal cord injury can happen to anyone at any time. It causes permanent paralysis below the level of injury. There is no cure for it anywhere in the world. The government of India is yet to recognize spinal cord injury as a specific multiple disability. It is still pooled under locomotor conditions, which means you cannot walk. But spinal cord injury is everything else as well. Not only do we lose function of our body, we lose sensation as well. So if somebody it takes a knife to my leg and starts cutting off my toes, I wouldn't even know it. So this injury that the WHO has termed the most debilitating condition in the world, in the West, there are people who get frustrated and say, I'm nothing more than a statistic. But in India, a person with spinal cord injury doesn't even have the luxury of being a statistic. Because we are 1/5 of the world's population. I can tell you statistically that more than 18,000 spinal cord injuries, traumatic spinal cord injuries, happen in the USA every year. More than 250,000 quadriplegics paralyzed below the neck alive in the USA today. And published evidence that 3 spinal cord injuries happen every week in Ireland, which doesn't even have the population of Tamil Nadu. Can we even imagine how many injuries happen in India? There are less than a handful of rehabilitation centers. Rehabilitation services are not part of any government or non-government insurance scheme. And these people, in a split second, these are the people who switch on the lights here. They're working on the ceiling and they fall. The farmers who are climbing trees and they fall. Road traffic accidents. It happens in a split second. Every 38 minutes. By the end of my talk, 2 injuries would have happened. And the government of India as a whole, doesn't have any support system. And if there comes a time when my family is not around to care for me, I can either go onto the streets and be abandoned there, or try to commit suicide, which, by the way, I can't. Again, something I need help for. So this is the situation of persons with spinal cord injury in India, and this is what Soulfree is trying to help people. So our outreach programs give them wheelchairs and do whatever we can to improve their quality of life where they are. And then, sir, I would like the video to be played. We also have started India's first integrated spinal rehabilitation centers. This is the Soulfree Inspire Center. Inspire standing for Integrated Spinal Rehabilitation. It's a 20,000 square feet facility, and I would like to invite all of you to come and visit us. Because if any of you are here who don't believe in God, I want you to definitely come and see this place. And as you see the video in the background, tell me how this body runs a 20,000 square feet facility that employs more than 40 people. Doctors, physiotherapists, occupational therapists. We have India's first fully temperature controlled hydrotherapy unit where people, in the Indian Spinal Injury Center in New Delhi, they charge around 15 to 20,000 rupees a day. And we don't charge anything. And they don't have the hydrotherapy unit we have. So as you see, this is Mr. Aragan. This is how they come to us. They can't even make eye contact. They're paralyzed. Sometimes their bodies have bed sores in them that are so bad. There are larvae in it, worms in it. and then using very natural, without chemicals, even grade 4 bed sores that would otherwise be told to do plastic surgery, we get it cleared within a month by giving people sun baths and natural medicated ghees. We give them full body x-rays as soon as they come, ultrasound machines. There are people who have come here, both their legs were broken and they didn't even know it because we don't have sensation. See, this is the bed sore. It may shock you, but this is how they are. I don't mean to hurt you, but I want you to see this world. I want you to change your perspective. And I want you all to realize how blessed you are that you never have to see this, that you never have to feel this in your life. But I want this to stay with you, not like a movie that you go and then at intermission you go have an ice cream and you've forgotten about it. I want this to stay with you, and I want each of you to think, what can I do? Somebody said impact, the influence you're able to have in the life around you. I want each of you to think, what have you done? What is the impact? Apart from bank accounts, what is the impact? How many lives are better because you have lived? I can say that this body, since this body is broken, at least 3,000 lives are better. This is our hydrotherapy unit. It's world class. And this lady is a French woman. So many French and American experts across the world are coming to train our staff. We're hoping to make it a true center for excellence and research in the holistic management of spinal cord injury, like which India doesn't have anywhere. This is an experiential framework that uses traditional medical systems like Ayurveda, massages and steam baths and everything. These all coming together under one roof makes such a difference. They are transforming lives. And we believe that this is an experiential framework. It is cost effective and it's transforming lives. And this framework, we believe, is something that can be duplicated across India, in every state. The government of Tamil Nadu has actually given approval for 3 spinal cord injury rehabilitation centers, but they have no idea what to do with it. But here we have the blueprint. See, I am in a condition where unless somebody feeds me, I can't eat. So here are people. There is a clear-cut order in the Inspire Center that nobody, no quadriplegic will leave our center without being able to feed themselves. So we give them prosthetic devices, splints, and we train them and give them the skills so that they can eat by themselves. Many times, lower level spinal cord injuries, even in many renowned institutes, the difference between them walking and not walking is that they can't afford it. But we are providing all the splints and the calipers and everything. A person comes, we are in touch with the manufacturer, they come, and it's individually measured and everything is done, and it's given to them free of cost. In fact, even food is very special. You can see I'm a foodie. And you know, when you have a spinal cord injury and you're 18, food is your only friend. Food is the only thing that makes you feel joyous, that makes you feel you have choice. And food is actually an enemy because you can't eat the way you did because your body doesn't work the same, the metabolism doesn't work the same. And you put on weight. And within the first year, people become obese, they get diabetes, they get high BP. So after a lot of research that I did on myself, I found once at one point that I couldn't get into size 38 pants. Honest. Then I said, this is not the way. And then I went into a regime that is high fiber, low carb diet that we offer at our center, free of cost to them and their caregiver. And people lose every meal they eat, 4 meals a day including a snack, and yet they lose 8 to 10 kilos because they are not eating white rice. They're given millet rice, which is 140 rupees a kilo, but we still give it. And red rice, and once a week they're given the white rice. But so many things we do to ensure, including their diet, that when they go out, they become self-reliant. Self-reliance from a physiological, psychological and socio-economic perspective. This is our goal. And this is the area where I would like to seek your help, because most of them, we are able to make them financially self-reliant. Physically and emotionally, we are pretty good at it. But the financial self-reliance is a challenge, right? But if they are almost able to walk with calipers and all that, you set up a chai shop, you give them an oven thing or something like that, and somehow they are able to make money. But if they are quadriplegics, the hands also don't work, then it becomes very difficult. So can we enable voice-based jobs? Some kind of job that they can do with their voices, that home-based, voice-based jobs. These are the challenges we are facing. We have future projects coming up, and one of them is this: how to enable voice-based jobs. We are starting the Soul Voice Training Institute, the Soul Voice Learning Institute, where they will come and get trained in ways that they can become financially self-reliant even if they are quadriplegics. And the ultimate goal of Soulfree has always been this: that nobody should be forced to commit suicide because of a physical condition they have no control over. And this is actually the challenge for every child of a mother, whether it's they are in the autism spectrum, they have cerebral palsy, n number of conditions. But my mother is scared that if she should pass away, what will happen to me? There was a young kid whose mother said, you know what, I wish I live one day more than my child. Because if I'm not around, then I don't know what will happen to him. So we want to answer this by starting the Soulfree Shambhala village, where people of various disabilities, there is a concept called kintsugi in the Japanese way, where they actually take vases that are broken over time and they pour molten gold and they fix it. And the vases that used to be broken are now pieces of art and much more valuable because they were put together by molten gold. So we feel that we may individually all be broken, but together we will form a whole that is much bigger than the sum of our parts. So this is another project we have. And there's also another project because my mother is now 72 years old and we struggle because we don't have proper caregivers. And I am the best case scenario because we have 40 people working in Soulfree, and yet it's still a struggle. But for those people who are not able to afford 25, 30, 40,000 a month of, really callous, ill-trained and ill-mannered people, we need a system called soul care, where we are able to develop personal care attendants, personal care assistants from very difficult backgrounds. That is people from LGBTQ community, the people from transgenders and acid attack survivors, the children of prisoners. If your father is in jail, I will not give you work. Women who've been sold into the body trade, acid attack survivors, so many people, rural kids whose parents have sold everything so that they may join a third-tier engineering college. And at the end of 3 years, they have 20 arrears. They've studied throughout in Tamil medium. They don't know how to read an engineering book. And yet they've sold their whole legacy to get there. And these kids, they become angry and sad and drop out of college. The soul care program will offer them a personal care attendant program and give them a career option. Yes, and these people who are playing cricket here, at home they have nobody. I got a call from somebody whose mother had collapsed on the floor. And he had called everyone in his neighborhood and nobody came. We sent government sources. And you know what? She had food poisoning and had to be taken to the hospital for 4 days. And all those who are still trying the 20-minute thing, I want to say, for the 4 days his mother was in hospital, he could not drink water or eat food. You know why? Nobody was there to empty his urine bag. And he can't do it himself. I was forced to starve for 4 days when my mother was in hospital because there was nobody to do my bowel program. Just imagine how blessed you are. And if each of you decide to make a difference in the lives of few people, 1%, it could transform so many lives. This is my plea to say, we all take so much for granted. Can we just try to be here and now, to see how blessed we are, and to see how we can give back? This is my humble plea that you don't leave it here with you, but take it here with you in your hearts for life, and see how maybe you can employ people who are wheelchair users. Maybe you can give somebody a chance who's from a marginalized segment of society. Maybe you can feed somebody. I don't know, you make the choice, but make a difference. And this is how I am fulfilling my highest potential, my true goal in life, to become a blank slate, is to lead a life that is not about I, me, and myself. To lead a life that is truly impacting other lives. Just now, here and now, if I have to die, I will die absolutely blissfully. There's nothing keeping me here. Not a single thing this world can offer me. Because nothing in this world actually lasts. Everything is an illusion. And I promise you, this is the only thing I've lost. My illusions. And on that note, I would like to invite Mrs. Raji Rajesh to say a few words. And then I will open the floor for questions. Anybody wishes to ask me anything, think about it. And after her appeal, I will open the floor for questions. These are outings they get to go out in. I spent a decade, 10 years of my life inside a room because I couldn't bear to see myself. I would sit in the hospital bed, refuse to even sit in the wheelchair. And I gave my parents a lot of hell. But these people who come there, they are able to lead wonderful lives. And they change. Their identities change. And they again want to live. I feel that is what is unique about the Soulfree Inspire Center, because my rehab happened in the Rehab Institute of Chicago, which is amongst the top 5 in the world. And as I told you, I was Olympic level fit. Pushing the body beyond its limits was not anything new to me. But then, my heart is in it, my heart is broken, I don't even want to live like this. And somebody says, hey, move your hand. move your hand. I'm like, bad words. So I was so angry, right? But that's the thing I learned. You need to give a person a reason to live. And here's our reasons we give them fun. Music and dance, and we have the world's first wheelchair accessible terrace garden. You'll see it sometime here. Because one person came up to me and said, I've been a farmer all my life. If I can't touch the soil, I don't want to live. So I told him, you'll touch the soil, and the vegetables that you grow, we will eat at the center. And actually, a few days before that, the physiotherapist had come up to me and said, this guy is so depressed. I think you need to kind of discharge him because he's making everybody else depressed. So I went up to him and said, will you talk to me? He actually refused to talk to me. Then he said, I have fever, I don't feel like talking. I said, I'll come back when your fever is gone, will you talk to me? He said, okay. So then I said, tell me your favorite song. And suddenly there was life behind his eyes. He said, அந்த உழைப்பாளி படத்துல அந்த பாட்டு ரஜினிகாந்த் பாட்டு. Then we played that song for him and made him dance. And then 3 months later, he was able to walk away with calipers. And he said, Madam, நான் இன்னைக்கு discharge ஆகி போகிறேன், என்ன போகிறதுன்னு தெரில. I said, அப்படியா, எப்போ கல்யாணம் பண்ணிக்க போகிறீங்க? Again that spark was there behind his eyes. He said, எங்களெல்லாம் யாரு மேடம் கல்யாணம் பண்ணிப்பா? I said, நீங்கள் 8,000 ரூபாய் சம்பாதிங்க, நான் பண்ணி வைக்கிறேன். So suddenly, we need to know people's buttons, right? We give them the incentive, we give them the will to live, and suddenly they blossom. So these are the things. Every day, they go out, see, this is a person who was there in our first batch. He had a road traffic accident. He now drives his own scooter, and he owns his own grocery shop. We have people who are now working for us who are in our first batch. See, he now walks with just one stick, and he's so handsome, he has a lot of girls roaming around him. So this is what we are trying to achieve, this complete transformation from a person who can hardly make eye contact and who has bed sores to a person who's confident, who physically is self-reliant, emotionally can handle anything the world has to throw at him, and financially is self-reliant. Because you all will agree, the bottom line is the bottom line. If you have money in your pocket, nobody can treat you like shit. Right? So this is what we are trying to achieve. And I would always love to have all of your blessings and your support. And again, I would like to, invite all of you to our center, because if you come, it will definitely change your life in a way, and it will change the way you view the world. So your perspective will be different. Yes, Raji, on to you.